What's up, guys? This is Saiyan here, coming at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure deck profile. Probably not another one. This is definitely the first one. But certainly for those of you who have been following me for a while, you will know that you maybe have noticed that I have a cyclical take on certain card games, and usually they're all dead CCGs, TCGs, or LCGs. I'm really not picky. As long as it's in a card form, I will eventually come around it, more or less. And yes, I do have Yu-Gi-Oh videos up from a couple of years ago. They're like kind of like just my old decks that I've been tinkering with. I kind of have two boxes full of just Yu-Gi-Oh cards from all ages. Every once in a while, I pick it up and just kind of look at what I can build with the cards available. But today is going to be about the very first structure deck that was released right after the initial for the first classic, the Yugi Kaiba, Joey, and Pegasus starters. I'm probably going to cover those as well, to be fair, because I recently have gone through my card collection. I realized that I have all the cards for all four of those decks, so I currently have them built. And I thought I'm gonna pick up this Dragon's Roar starter because I always love dragons, and especially in Yu-Gi-Oh, um, dragons were obviously one of the big things from the get-go because of Blue Eyes, and I always wanted to have a cool deck that's designed around Red Eyes. So here we go. Let's start with our monsters. Right off the bat, the structure deck gives us 3 Mass Dragon, which is your straightforward floater. It's upon destruction by battle, it gets you a 1500 or less attack um, dragon type monster and special summons it to the field. So obviously, this should be able to get you out quite well. Either you can get another Mass Dragon out, which is often the line, and then eventually, when you stripped your deck from all the Mass Dragons, the last one you will use to pick one of the following cards. Potentially one of the two Luster Dragons, which is not a bad normal monster because it's got the 1900 attack and even 1600 defense. That's fantastic. Like clearly, this shows that at this point, um, the creators of the game were already past that stage of not knowing what they want to do and started to max out the 4-star. Well, at least the normal, not the effect monsters, but the normal monsters for sure. Um, we also get one element dragon. This is actually searchable with Moss Dragon. Forgot to say that the two Luster Dragons they are not, but they are certainly really good beaters nevertheless. The Element Dragon is searchable with the Mass Dragon, 1500 attack. And you can get any of the two effects. If you got a fire monster on the field, increase the attack of this card by 500, pumps it up to 2k attacker. That's fantastic. And if you got a wind monster on the field, if this card is destroyed, if this card destroys your opponent's monster as a result of battle, it can attack again in a row. And that actually means every time it destroys one of your opponent's monsters, it can carry on attacking. Um, this certainly would be a cool thing to have in multiples. Um, the one caveat is that really the only fire types are the 3 Mass Dragons, and you're not really going to be wanting to keep the Mass Dragons on the field for too long, and that's realistically the one that gives the plus 500 for Element Dragon. Another single inclusion is the Twin-Headed Behemoth, another really cool effect dragon, again searchable with a Mass Dragon, the 1500 attack, and when it's destroyed, when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, it can be special summoned back as a 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and you can do this once per duel, which is really good because again, Twin-Headed can come back and still give you defense for the next turn if it needs be. But let's look at our power line monsters. We have got two copies of Armed Dragon level 3. Yes, again, searchable with Moss Dragon. Um, can be a little bit difficult to keep this little guy alive for the next turn, so you can get your level 5 Armed Dragon, which we do have two copies of. But we do have a couple of tricks to keep that Armed Dragon level 3 alive on the field, hopefully just long enough to get the level 5 out. And the level 5 really is the sensible option to go into when it comes to this deck, because you still get the 2400 attack, which you get on your red eyes, and you can also do some shenanigans. Someone must card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy one face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field with an attack that is equal to or less than the attack of the monster you discard. And it can get you the level 7 as well, which is not in this deck, but then again, if you would have picked this deck up back in 2006, you probably would have chased for the level 7s, and this would have set up that line nicely. But the main event of the deck is the Red Eyes lineup. I actually changed this Red Eyes Beat Dragon to a slightly nicer one that I have. You get one that is just printed as a basic common. It's still cool, but I think the look of this Red Eyes kind of fits the look of these Red Eyes cards a little bit more. So we start with Red Eyes Beat Chick. It allows you to special summon the Red Eyes Beat Dragon from your hand. So you can basically circumvent to have to double tribute for Red Eyes. And of course, Red Eyes is not necessarily a huge deal on its own, but you can get into this guy, and this guy gets plus 300 attack for every single dragon monster you got in your graveyard, and it can certainly be a massive beater. I mean, he is probably your game under. You should be able to get, if you can get this guy down and make him stick on the field, probably good enough to hopefully finish the game with. So this is the main event of the deck, technically. Now, one thing I've noticed is that we really don't have many. I think there's like 15 monsters in here altogether, but we do get a lot of spell cards and trap cards. This is a 40 card deck. And of course, the first card we get is the infamous Pot of Greed. But what does it do? Anyway, well, we get a Heavy Storm as well, which is just, again, a fantastic card. Just destroys all the spells and traps on the field, including yours, but, those of you who have played with it, you know that you can use it very tactically. We get a Premature Burial. That's another card that isn't really used a lot nowadays. For 800 attack, you basically get, I guess we could say it's a slightly more balanced Monster Reborn, but it's still broken. You can only get stuff back from your own graveyard, and it has to come down and face up attack, and you have to pay 800. And this card is attached to it, and if any of them is destroyed, then both go to the discard, but it's still broken. We get a Snatch Steal, which is also broken. Just steal one of your opponent's monsters, and yes, they do gain 1000 life points at the beginning of their standby phase, but you're normally going to steal something, use it for a tribute summon, or do a final attack with it and just finish the game off. Swords of Revealing Light, just a nice addition to make sure that you can make your level 3 dragon stick, or get that Red Eyes Beat Chick to stick until you draw into Red Eyes Beat Dragon, for example. We get an MST as well, a fantastic card, absolutely brilliant. And then slightly more specific stuff, we get the Graveyard in the 4th dimension, which allows us to take 2 monsters with a LV or level and shuffle them back in the deck, which can give us extra utility from the Armed Dragons. We also get 2 copies of Nobleman of Crossout, which is a great removal, and especially in the era where face down defense position was very much still part of the tactic. Having 2 Nobleman of Crossouts is an excellent card, especially in a deck where you're not running like Man-Eater Bug or any of the commonly used staples, so you can be a little bit more brave about removing something, even than hoping you're not gonna have it in your deck. We get two reloads, which I think is very straightforward, very standard for structure decks. It just helps you to get rid of the bulky starting hands. It doesn't draw you extra card. In fact, you lose a card, but it can still give you a very nice hand refresh. We also get two creature swaps. Creature swaps can be really good in a strategic moment. Just swap one of your monsters with one of your opponents if they got something really big, and if you got something really small, or they have something that's got really good utility, just take it. And finally, the big one, and one of the reasons why it was definitely a good purchase, is the 3 stamping destruction. I say a good purchase back in 2006, is because as long as you have a dragon type monster, you can play this card and destroy one spell or trap card on the field and inflict 500 points of damage to the controller of that card. So again, it can be a final finisher. It can just remove pesty cards. It doesn't specify whether it's face up or face down. It's just straight up removal, and that is good. Well, it was good back in those days. And then finally, the traps. We get one ceasefire. Ceasefire can be really good as well for that chit damage. Sometimes it's not even just a chit damage. It can be, 500, 1,000, 2,000 life points of damage. Then we got a Trap Jammer, which is a slightly nerfed version of, is it 7 Tools of the Bandit, I think? Because you have to Well, I see that. It's actually not a nerf. It's actually a better version now that I'm reading through it, because it doesn't really have a cost. You just have to activate it when your opponent activates a trap card, and you negate that activation and destroy it. So it's a fantastic way to stop traps. We got one copy of the Dragon's Bead, which can be really good and protect the dragons from the effects of trap cards. Really good stuff. And we also get a Curse of Anubis, kind of similar ways of protection. Kind of protection, so your dragons will be kind of kept safe for a little bit. We also get one copy of Reckless Greed, just a bit of an extra card draw with the very obvious drawback. We also get a copy of Call of the Haunted, which is again just a slightly different version of Monster Reborn. And we get 2 copies of Dragon's Rage, which is fantastic. Gives all our dragons Pierce. And Pierce is fantastic when you got some of the big beaters and your opponent just can't really go into defense. And again, can be a game finisher. And to keep those level 3 and Red Eyes Beachick dragons alive, we have 2 interdimensional matter transporter in the deck as well. You can remove them from the game and then return them at the end of the turn, so they will be ready. If you do this during your opponent's turn, obviously they will be ready in your main phase to hopefully upgrade. And this is it, guys. This is the first true structure deck based around dragons. I am very happy that I managed to pick this up. Of course, as always, I pick these things up used. I really don't see much of a point in collecting sealed stuff because they're very expensive. You guys know I like to play with these cards, so here you go. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and let me know in the comments if you want to see the OG starter decks, the Yugi, Kaiba, Pegasus, and Joey ones. Up until next time, guys. It's time to duel. Peace.